Hard, heavy, and hair. Badass music for badass listeners. With Pariah Burke.
I talked once again to Ray West, lead singer for Spread Eagle. We talked about his brand new project, SupaFly, a new sound and a more dynamic way of singing for the guy who sang Switchblade Serenade and Broken City. We discussed the evolution of Ray's voice from that vicious, raspy falsetto of the 22-year-old Spread Eagle singer to a more mature chest singer who still hits what he calls the bullet points of Spread Eagle songs. In between the usual interview topics, appearances, new albums from SupaFly and Spread Eagle, what's next, we chatted about Aerosmith's heaviest music, great rock singers, the current state of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and when Ray West attended a party in New York with Prince jamming all night. In fact, at one point, we lost track of the fact that the camera was rolling. Here's that conversation between two music fans who are just lucky enough to work in the music business.
What's up, my brother?
Hey.
One day we're now here we are.
Yeah. How's the weather in Florida?
Today's beautiful, brother. Today's like, let me see. Where's my phone? It's got to be like 70 something right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man. Well, it's also been rainy, a little bit rainy, so it's been a little bit of a drag, but nothing bad. It's so strange. Anyway.
You want me to call it? Help you find it?
Yeah. No, just been trying to, prepare for it. It's been a long day, that's all. And I said to myself, I'm not going to fucking flake on you. I'm going to fucking do this shit. It's 70 on the dot. Oh, and the rest of the week is like cold here is like 60, 65.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a different world here, man.
I remember when I was a kid, when we first moved to Florida, we'd spent our first Christmas day on Clearwater Beach.
It's on the left coast of Florida.
Yeah.
Clearwater's not good people. That's one of those rockin' towns, because back in the day, Spread used to play there. I think quite a bit. We played Tampa and Clearwater quite a bit back in the day, in the 1900s. But yeah, man, like the whole Clearwater's come up a lot. Clearwater and Tampa, they're like different places from the way they were in the 1900s. It's like a whole different place.
Yeah. Is there still Ybor City and all that?
Oh, I honestly don't know, because I'm on the East Coast. I've been back. We did Clearwater a couple months back. I've been there enough times. I just haven't gotten out and looked around. But the city itself. Because the Buccaneers and all the money that's been poured into that town, it just seems like it's nice.
Yeah.
The East Coast, I know. Doing it already? Oh shit. Okay.
Huh?
I know we were like just doing. We were rapping for real. We are.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, this started because you and I were texting about something you got in the works, which I've seen you announce. So it's cool for me to say SupaFly, right?
Yeah, man. I can't even believe it always feels like it's just me, or me like calling Miguel to do something, but I never thought we'd actually get a chance to really get these tunes off the ground. Like they've been sitting around for a while, and the act of doing something you really, really believe in, and not that I don't believe in Spread, I love it, Spread's my life. But, this is like, it feels like it's such a private thing. Really it's this private thing that you love and that and then you share them with everybody. And it's really personal. So it means a lot. The lyrics are very personal. I think musically it's in my personality. This is me on a play. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
It feels weird to talk about it now because it's been such a personal, private thing, But there's good people involved, and the people that believe in this sound, believe in it as much as me and Miguel do. We've had our buddy Adrian in the mix. We've known her for years, but she's always been busy with let's call it the top tier of things, and she's decided to step in and help us too. So that's big. It's big to have her, as part of our creative team and family and managing this thing. So it's just cool.
So what's Adrian's contribution?
Well, she Agent is acting as manager for
Okay.
this. And, it's just great because she's just really. There's some people that are born to like be out there pushing and in the know of the, to front these kind of things, like personality wise and gumption.
Yeah.
That's an old word. You got a lot of gumption. She's just a real badass, and so she likes it enough to help out, and that's a big deal. So she's family, she's friend, but now she's wants to be a part of it, put her name on this. And she's a big creative part of this too. She's not just managing, she's also like got a lot of creative, cool ideas with artwork. And, because me and Miguel we're just music guys. I'm not that much I don't paint or anything like that. I think outside the line sometimes. And she does. So it's cool to have that sort of extra member doing that. She's like part of the band.
That's really cool to have a manager that feels integrated into the band and really a part of it.
Yeah, and it's she doesn't have to do it. It's not like we're going. Would you please take care of us? It's just she's like, I really like this man, and I really think I've known you a lot of years, and I think this will work. I want to be a part of this. I'm like, come on down. So she's an awesome human, and I don't you haven't met Miguel, but as far as a cat that writes, produces, can play all the instruments, and is just a talented guy. He's a special cat. There's a certain sense of humor that permeates when he's around, and I have to be very, watch out for his pranks and shit.
What kind of pranks has he gotten you with?
Oh man, they're all like X-rated stuff. It's like stuff I shouldn't talk about. It's just he's the kind of dude you never know what's going to pop up or being around. You just have to be aware of what's around you.
I got a couple of friends like that. Yeah.
I mean, it's just those, some cats have that studio humor, and then there's just dudes that have been on the road and they have that extra layer of humor, and then just it's not right. No, man, we just click on all levels. It's as creative partners. That thing when you're in a marriage, he completes me, finishes my sentences. It's like that. It's just cool. It's cool. He's funny as hell.
Right on. I look forward to meeting him someday.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, I'm sure you will.
So, so you and Miguel have been working on this for years. How did this come about? What was the genesis for SupaFly?
Well, at some point, I was really busy. He got really busy, and a friend of mine, who, when I had some songs out, maybe like a decade ago, had got me some licensing work. And he said to me, what are you and Miguel doing? I really like the way you guys write. And what are you guys up to? I said, well, we're putting some new stuff down. And he goes, what did you do with those songs that I heard? I said, well, we haven't done much with them. So he was like, I have some licensing opportunities that are happening, and if you get me some stuff, man, we can pitch stuff, So I brought the conversation over to Miguel, and we got in next thing I know, we were in the studio, and we're taking these tunes and remixing and massaging everything. I re-sang some things, we put a lot of work into it, and took something that was kind of sitting around and polished it up, and let's give this a makeover,
Mm-hmm.
So that was just a catalyst in us getting together and doing this, It's for me. I've had these songs in my pocket for so long that I can't go to the grave and not have these. This would have been my biggest regret. You know what I mean? Other than stepping away from the business and coming back and being active and doing spread, this would have been my biggest regret because this is very personal. You want to feel like it always sounds so corny. You want to feel like you left something, that was kind of meaningful, that really meant. And I don't think it's not the cure for cancer, but it's just great vibe music. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot, and I feel like when we write, as we keep writing, we can even go further. We haven't even discovered what we're able to write yet.
So you wanna go out being the boogeyman?
Yeah,
you're boogeyman.
That's it. It's all about the groove, and my what's in my wheelhouse is a lot. I mean, Spread's like a rock band, that I love and adore. but there's that side of me that's very like, raised in Brooklyn, raised in Fort Lauderdale, part of this thing. South Florida is very like, it's a Latin music culture. It was a lot of disco back, and it's a dance culture. It's very
Yeah.
group orientated. It's hip hop is in Miami, so it's all about the beat, and sitting in the pocket. And that's a big part of my life. It's part of my DNA. And um, being raised in a household I was with a lot of Latin music and rock music. I've always had rock and roll, but I've always had the Latin influence and the beats and the rhythms. You know what I mean? So I think it's special in that way. So I'm not just in one genre. There's a lot more to me. So I think this does that. And I sing what I call really natural in this stuff. Like when I was doing this stuff with the band a couple of years ago, the heavier band I was in. I've been doing this style for years. I just never had a chance to get this music out.
Yeah.
Right. And plus, and when you told me how much you liked it, I was like,
I do.
That's cool, man. The feedback is great. That really drives me.
No, I really dig it. Like I told you, I love the way you do the phrasing. Yeah, your phrasing is just great. So somebody told me, somebody came to me and they said, hey, you like 70s funk and disco, right? I'm like, funk, once in a while, a little disco, yeah. And they go, oh, check this out. I heard this new song. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, I know that singer.
Well, that's crazy. That's cool.
I'm listening to your SupaFly's cover of Boogeyman. And I'm like, oh, this is heavy. This is groovy. I like this. And I know the singer. And then I'm like, I had to put that on the air. I had to put that on the show. That was so cool. That was just, I love listening to that. And I was listening to Hypothermia and the other thing that I'm not supposed to talk about that you sent me an early mix of. They're really good, man. They're really good.
I'll send you the whole thing when I can, man. It's like I said, I have a hard time letting go of this stuff, but now that I got the really good people around me, I mean, look, man, it means what it means. What's great to me is you heard something, you had no idea about it, and it's like, oh, that's Ray. You know what I mean? And we're having this conversation about it, and it's amazing how, how the expression works, how it greets people, and then it becomes more than me. Then it's me and you. Then it's someone else who digs it, and so on and so on and so on. You know what I mean? It's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling.
And my friend really dug it. I said, oh, I know the singer. And she goes, one of your Motown guys? Because I know a couple of guys who used to sing on the Motown label. And I was like, no, New York street metal. And I said, it's Ray West. She goes, who's Ray West? I said, no, who the fuck is Ray West?
That's right. Because, first it's like, when I did the hashtag, it's like, now I own it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, really, well, who the fuck and who am I? And I want to leave my statement. My statement is to leave these grooves that just make people feel good. It's not anything political. It's not this. It's not that. It's just feel good music. I'm sure a lot of people say that, but I'm meaning it.
You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like you and a couple of guys were hanging out on the street corner, singing and playing songs you liked, and then you moved into the studio and said, let's polish this.
Yeah. And a song like Hypothermia, I've said this all the time. I always thought it was really so cliche because I'm not a poet, so I slave over any lyric that I write nowadays. And you hear people say, oh, I wrote this song. It just came to me out of the spiritual writing thing, just popped out of, thin air, and I wrote it in 30 seconds. And a song like Hypothermia was like that. You hear something, and right away, it triggers something in you, and you just start writing. And then you start singing. And it's in 10, 15 minutes, you've got a track, and then you can start doctoring things up, But the bones of it, it was written so fast. I think all the really more the vocal feature stuff comes a little quicker to me than stuff that sits in the heavier music. It seems like a lot more work, I hear something that's really open for vocal, and lyrics and melodies seem to come quicker than on the heavier stuff.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think it's just when I feature my vocal more, things become more personal, and It's just I just find it easier. I find it easier to be honest. I guess what I'm saying is it's easier for me to be vulnerable and honest now than I was in my life years ago when I was trying to be somebody I wasn't or something I'm not. I guess this is as authentic as I could be.
Good way to do it.
Yeah. There's no other way to be. I've already tried. I tried to be like some. I said this the other day to my friend Chuck Shute. I wasn't born like a 6 foot blonde rock star looking dude. I'm a little crazy dude that what's he doing here? You know what I mean? What's he have to say? Why is he here? So there's a lot to me, man. I just want to get it all out there. And with friends like you and getting the word out, we can do this. It's because it's not just me. I'm doing this because of the sheer love of it. That's why I wake up every day and do this. I don't have to do this. You know what I mean? But you're driven to do this kind of shit. You're driven to do your passion, whatever that is. So my passion is communicating. I don't have a podcast, but I do it through music.
All right. Well, I'll help you out on the podcast radio side. You do the music, I'll do the radio, man.
Yeah, I think the whole medium is great. I mean, we all need each other to survive.
Yeah.
Changed. And I think that having a podcast and doing it well is really important. It's a great craft. The art of conversation is an art. Really, it's a beautiful thing when it's done well. And guys like you that are just easy to talk to and easy to be with, just make it easy, man. It's not about, it's just real. It's cool. You're like that.
Thank you.
In case you didn't know.
Thank you. I try. Yeah, I'm just me. Like you, I'm just me.
What else? I've tried so hard, I tried so hard to be a rock star when I was younger, and it just didn't feel comfortable to be that sort of flashy person. You know what I mean? I was never comfortable with that, even though it's part of the routine. So I probably faked it a lot, but nowadays I'm comfortable with who I am. I am Ray West, this person I've created, now wear a flashy jacket. I'm just having fun with it. As you get older, you just have fun with it. I don't take it so serious anymore. But what I do take serious is the song and how people feel about it. I want people to take ownership of this music. That's how it works. When you like a band, you take ownership of that song. You play it and you turn other people onto it like it's your own. You got to hear. I heard this. I want you to have this. I'm gonna give you I'm gonna send you the file. I want you to have this. Play this at 6 o'clock when you're chilling at the beach or whatever. We all need this. Music is such a big part. That we had a conversation a lot. When I tried to walk away from music and do other things in my life, it became miserable. I became a fucking addict because of it. And now the new addiction is to work on music as much as possible. It's terrible.
At the risk of sounding insensitive, your addiction to music is bringing pleasure to other people's ears too. So you're making it cool. You're making something that other people are enjoying.
Yes, and it's a great feeling. It feels good to have to have that in my life. It's really, really cool, man. Because I guess I used to be really like I didn't like to prop myself up so much. You know what I mean? And whatever. I always blew it off like I didn't deserve the compliment. You know what I mean? But I'm comfortable with who I am now. And if people dig it, that's awesome. It means everything. It means I connected in some cool way, that someone else didn't. So it's cool. I like it. You're on.
So we were talking about how different for people who haven't heard SupaFly yet. Your singing is a lot different than it was early on with Spread Eagle. It's more akin to the Subway to the Stars album from almost 5 years ago, right? Was it August of 2018 or 2019?
Yeah, I think we released it late 19 or 2020. Oh, that's sort of like I remember, but 1920.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago. And for people who were expecting you to sound like you were 22, back on Switchblade Serenade. It was a very different, much deeper vocal than you used to do. You used to do a lot of the falsetto, a lot of the screaming. You actually sang a lot more. And nowadays with SupaFly, you're singing a lot more. And you would tell me how different of an experience it is from what you used to sing, as a kid to now.
Yeah, well, the vocal now to me is I'm doing something more natural. What I mean is, when I was first recording with Spread, I had no way to rein in my technique and my energy, you know. So those vocals were like unbridled energy, like there was no real technique involved, just a lot of drugs and attitude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I felt everything had to be on 110. My delivery had to be extreme. It had to be the most vicious vocal. That was the word we used to use. I used to tell people, I want to be known as a vicious singer, and, almost in that vein of like, the Joplin, that Tina Turner kind of edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of singing is, but what it is, that singing is almost like it's true voice, but it's because you have those young lungs and the young chords, everything's lubricated nice, so you're able to use a lot of energy to push a very small pocket of air and have it be raspy. If you can catch the rasp, I caught it naturally when we recorded the first record. It just happened. You know what I mean? And I learned it when I recorded the record, I didn't know how to sing it live. I was like, how the hell do I do this live? And then once we got on the road, rehearsing. Once you got on the road, I learned to control the very small pocket of air. And that kind of singing, if you don't do that every day or, every other day through the years, you're going to lose that technique. You just will. So luckily, my register is still on the high side. My larynx is small, and where it sits, I'm able to have a certain kind of tone. But now I find that the singing is just more natural. It's more from my chest. So instead of me just being here, right, now I have all this. I have the bottom end that I didn't have before. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
The push is, the problem is if you're singing from the chest, you're going to lose. You have to watch out for stamina. Because if it's like using muscle. If you're throwing punches, at some point your arm's going to get tired. Right? So how do you chi? How do you throw the kung fu punch instead of just the quick punch, right? It takes a lot of control, a lot of restraint, but you learn how to use it. You know what I mean? So now, I'm not a violin. I'm more of a cello. You know what I mean?
In what respect?
Well, the voice is, I feel like it's fuller.
Okay.
I can still catch some of the brightness. It's there. When we did Subway, it's where I was vocally. Me and Rob in the studio didn't make me go to too much extremes. There's some cool screaming on the album, and there's some great tone. I think what I've developed is tone. I love the early Spread stuff, but there's a tone that I have now that I like too. It's like, when you age, you sort of develop into something. Like, this is the singer that I always wanted to be. Someone who's more like, a natural singer than someone who's singing affected with, I'm not having to sing with a rasp and push it to get to come across and communicate. I think I feel like I can sit back more and sing naturally and communicate just as easily. Less is more, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you're, at falsetto and you're as high as you can go, you can't really put a lot of intonation in there. You can't really put nuance.
You can't mess with dynamics. Like, now I like to mess with the dynamics a lot. It's like to sing the first album stuff, I just got to sort of like get in my higher range, just pick my bullet points, things like Broken City.
Yep.
Songs like Broken City, I've gotten a lot of crazy comments on, I'll tell you a quick story about that song. And we were recording it. The producer didn't feel that I put enough into it. So they brought someone in to sing that song for me to follow. They're like,
okay,
we're going to someone that we think is stronger, and they're going to lay down a vocal, and you're going to follow that. So the guy that they bring in, he's in there bashing out like 4-5 hours. They take a break. He tells me, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. You already got it. I can't do this. But there was this dynamic in the studio with me and the producer, who was also our manager at the time. and it was always quite violent. It was like a very father and son thing. Like I was never good enough, never good enough. So I always tried harder. I always screamed more. I always reached harder, more rasp, more energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And anyway, so it turns out, we used my vocal on Broken City, and that's what stayed on there because all along I did it. You know, and that was my delivery, my energy, and the guy just couldn't cop it. So I get a lot of cool compliments on that song. I'm proud of that vocal. It's me at my most high energy, screamy, falsetto, raspy thing. I'm proud of the work we did, but I'm very proud of the fact that my tone has developed, and I didn't think I developed. I didn't think, at the beginning, like I said, you got this great bright thing, and after a while, you wanted to just sort of like play with it a little more, different lights, not just a
Yeah.
big bright. You want a different. I wanted some red, some purple, some blue, some green. So I think I'm just in a better place vocally.
How do you? I like the first Spread album, but I'm liking the evolution of your voice better nowadays. I mean, I like that. 1990. That was a great album for the time. I still like listening to it. But I'm really enjoying the vocals that I'm hearing from you in later on in life. I'm liking the range and the depth.
Uh,
You
means
know,
the world. It means the world to me. I think everybody evolves differently. I think I've evolved into a voice and tone that I can live with, that I'm proud of. I beat myself up for a lot of years, because I set the bar so high for myself. I was like, what do I do after that? And then you start to look back at all the great voices of the past, and you start to hear, just sing. You know what I mean? You don't have to go and try to be something, over. Just sing and see what comes of it. I sing with a lot of great emotional intention. I think, once I'm in the moment. The beauty of singing is you become hyper focused, and everything kind of falls away. It really does, because it's a lot of breath. So
mhm.
you get to like a meditative state, And I've never really tried to break it down. It's just you're breathing, you're taking in so much air, and you're taking a lot of oxygen. You're going to get stoned, So it's a very natural buzz. Endorphins start kicking, and I love that.
Very cool. So we were talking about, you were telling me about the difference now with Broken City and the music from back then. And you hit the bullet points. How do you sing it now on stage? How do you incorporate your better range now?
Um, well, the control of it, first of all, in this past year and a half, I have worked really hard to sort of get my chops back where they were, and a lot of gigs have helped. The more you sing, like anything else, the better you'll get at it, you know. Um, I find myself for live, everybody tunes down a little bit, maybe a half step or whatever. And so the problem is, even if a band tunes down, people don't realize that the singer mindset is still set on what you did on the album. I'm
Yeah.
actually famous for like singing over the tuning. It's like, Ray, you can come down a little bit. It's okay. Um, I practice to the songs in regular tuning, and I will also practice to the songs a step down, right? So I can map that out in my head, and then live I forget everything, and I just wing. To be honest with you, but yeah, I pick things like Broken City. The verse I'll hit and with a clean, almost more clean than a rasp. I just want to get the note out. You know what I mean? The
Yep.
the the intention of it is what's important. The attitude of singing it is what matters most, I think. Um, when you look, there's so many singers live that just I'm not a paint by numbers singer. I will not sing the same thing over and over and over. I change it up constantly because I kind of get bored quickly. You know, if I
Yeah,
see
you got to keep yourself entertained while you're up there. Yeah.
I'll switch things up, and sometimes Rob will look at me like, that's interesting. You know? um, yeah, I think there's notes people want to see me hit, or a certain kind of sound or the vocal dynamic people are looking for. So it's really about keeping the swagger, man, keeping the intention there. You know, no matter how you sing it, you got to mean it. That's what's important. I've always felt the songs. I've never dialed it in. I think if I have dialed it in my life, I was probably drunk or something on some kind of drug. You know, but now that I sing sober, you know, the intention is really, it's intense. You know, so I really got, I'll try to practice the songs as much as I can without burning myself out, so that I still like them when I sing them live. Um, you could sing something 10 times in a day, and then when you go and sing in front of people, everything elevates and changes because the energy changes, you know. Um, and I'm also able to get away with stuff because I do this routine with something called Dr. Pocket Pokes, which is a bottle that has a little straw in it. You know, you can just take a bottle of straw too, but has a little plastic bottle. The straw, you as you blow in air, as you sing into this bottle, it creates this pressure. And so the pressure in the other tube goes back and massages your chords. But the bottle makes you sing very small notes, like small air. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to sing. So you practice singing softly and very concentrated into this bottle with a straw. And as you go live, the technique stays in your head, but you're pushing more air. So it's like working out. It's called Dr. Pop. It's very cool, man. Jamie Vandera turned me on to it. He's one of my most awesome vocal guru guys. He's a great vocal teacher. But, you know, I really don't follow Matt. My body will adjust to it. It will just feel good. I won't even think about it. When I don't think about it, I think I'm singing well. When I have to think about it, then I know something's wrong or I'm not in the zone.
All right.
I hope that makes sense to you.
So just, all very natural and, you know, just getting in the zone and feeling the song and keeping yourself entertained while singing it.
And there's also vocal placement. So these songs sit in a certain place. There's a song called Devil's Road that I really enjoy singing now more than I did even back in the day. I like where the vocal placement is. Like, but if it's like anything else, if you're carrying something up here, right, and you're carrying, you have to carry it for a mile, your arms are going to get tired. So you got to find a way to carry it without your arms getting tired.
Right.
So if I'm pushing a certain amount of air, and it's natural, and I'm not thinking about it, the song gets sung as well as I can sing it. If I'm pushing this air and I'm thinking about it too much, then I'm not going to do right by the song, if that makes sense at all too.
I think so, yeah.
It's all tricky business. It's, you know, when you're in the box, it's very serious. So I know that people video everything. What I get pissed off at, and I'll just be straight up, doesn't matter how great you are live, what you sound like live. On those cell phones, it doesn't pick up the nuance of what you're doing in the room.
Yeah.
And that's a drag about the recordings, man. But I know it's there.
It's an omnidirectional mic, you know. And for anybody who doesn't know what that means, it means the mic picks up all the way around 360 degrees. It's an omnidirectional mic, which means if I'm 3 rows back recording Ray singing live, it's getting Ray, it's getting the other guys in Spread Eagle playing, but it's also getting the sound around me. Even if that doesn't come through, there's the emptiness of the space that's part of the recording. And it's a cell phone. It's a phone. It's meant to pick up voice for its spoken word voice, which, you know, the range, the hertz, and it don't get me started. It's terrible. No, I know exactly what you mean.
Dig in, because it's something that it's a conversation that people just some people just don't get it. I get that people want to be a part of the show. I think it's great. You know, post it to Instagram, do that. But if it sounds like shit, you're not doing the band any favors. You know, but hey man, when I go see a band, sometimes I'll whip out the phone too, but I'm always in the back of the arena. You know, I'm getting the lights and all that cool stuff, you know. But I just, you know, the days of live albums, people don't realize when the band did a live album back in the day, the singer went back in the studio and tracked a lead vocal, and they dubbed that in. You know, there's a lot of great albums that you think, wow, it's so great.
Even coming off the board? Even recording.
So you have that. You know, you got so many nights of that. That's edited down. You know, you got 6 nights to choose from, right?
Yeah.
This from this from that, and that. But also, a lot of cats will go into the studio, put the live track on, and dump the vocal and just sing to it, and then they add that too. That's an industry secret. I think I just gave away. The point is, man, what happens in the room sonically never gets captured the way it should be. But I appreciate that people want to be a part of it. You can't stop it. It seems like it's happened. It's like this thing that you just can't stop anymore. There's some comedians that go out and they make you leave the phones at the door. I think if people did that, they would just experience the room and the show and be together and be part of the experience, man. It's a bit of a distraction. Only when it's in your face like that. People, it's like, why are you putting that in my nose? But that's something I'm always going to have a gripe about, and I don't think it's ever going to end. It's become part of the culture.
Yeah, I get the motivation of, it's a souvenir, it's a memory. I'll go see bands and I'll tape, my favorite song, or I'll tape a little bit of it, but it's for me to review. I was there. I remember how good they sounded. I don't go by the audio on the phone,
Right.
but unless I'm there with a field recording kit and I'm plugged in, I'm pulling my audio straight off the mixing board. I'm not expecting good quality audio.
People record and put it out for two reasons. This is my thinking too. They record it because they either love the band, love the music, and want to share it, the experience, or they hate the band and they want to bring it down.
Now, the former ones, they're great. People who love them, and most of the people I know, I have this friend in upstate New York. Her favorite band in the world is Def Leppard. She will go to she'll travel all over to go to any, Leopard show. And she'll post clips because she loves them so much and she wants to share that passion. Sometimes she's front row. Sometimes she's, up in the 300s.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's still, she's sharing the passion. These guys are awesome. I love these guys, And no, the audio's not great, but I don't think anybody with half a brain expects the audio from a cell phone to sound good from a concert.
Oh, sure. That's, it's sometimes there'll be the people that will comment, you know what I mean? And luckily for me, I stopped reading any comments. I don't read comments on anything, but there's a lot of if you're in the building, you're watching the band, it's because you're a good, positive person. You want to be part of something really cool. So everybody gets the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? It's just, like I said, it's just that part of me that just hates bad recordings. I make music in the studio. You know what I mean? For a reason. You know what I mean? And to see that kind of diluted, to its most shitty sound depresses me. You know what I mean? So I'm still not a fan of the phones, but it's part of it. What can we do? What I'll do now is I'll grab someone's phone and I will just tape them and just tape the room for them. There goes a great shot. Put it away.
Nice. Classic.
I imagine on the Monsters of Rock cruise thing, that's all about video and recordings and everything. So you just got to get used to it.
So I haven't had a chance to go on the Monsters of Rock cruise yet. I always have conflicting commitments. How does it sound when you're up there playing in the open air, at sea? How is the sound to you on stage?
That's a great question, and that's something I would put to Rob DeLuca because I've never been on the boat before.
Oh, are you going this year? You guys, are you?
Yeah, we got invited to go on 2024, which was a surprise to me because I just got tired of there's this group of bands that always plays M3, and you just expect to see them again every year. And as far as the boat, someone said, let's get Spread Eagle on. I was like, really? You just don't expect, you just figure something's never going to happen, so you don't expect it to happen.
Yeah.
And then so we're on the boat, man. It's nice, but I would imagine, when you're doing outdoor gigs, in general, the wind plays a big factor, and how the sound carries and where it goes and how it sounds. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like on the boat, on an outdoor deck somewhere. It's got to be crazy. I can't even imagine. Thank God for in-ears, I guess, in an outdoor situation.
Yeah.
But that's got to be weird, man. I don't know. I've never been on a ship. I watch way too many YouTube big boats and large waves videos, and that's a problem. I get this feeling like
The Poseidon Adventure and all that.
yeah, I get the feeling like it's going to happen to me. It's a terrible fatalist way to think. I'm trying to get it out of my head, and everybody, I've posted a couple times. I'm a little iffy about going on the boat, a little nervous, but well, I'm sure everybody have a good time. Like, great, it's going to be great. The boat doesn't move. You feel like you're in a hotel. We had little weather last year, but it wasn't bad. To me, great. But these videos, they stay in your head, and it's going back about people losing their shit, running back and forth. And yeah, Poseidon Adventure. I grew up on that. Titanic. I'm not down.
Yeah.
The idea of going on a floating island and doing whatever the hell you want, because that's what it is. You can do whatever you want on a floating island. It's just a little nerve wracking, but I'm sure it'll be fun. We're new. I'm new to the thing. Our band's new to it. Rob's done it with other bands. So whether we play on the pool deck or in the closet, we get to play. So I'm excited about it.
That's really cool. I'm glad you guys are getting to go. And if I can give you a safety tip.
Okay.
If anything goes wrong on the ship, stick close to Ted Poley, because monsters or the Monsters of Rock cruise will protect Ted Poley like the Secret Service protects the president. So you stay close to Poley, you'll be good. You'll be safe. Ted's like the mayor of Monsters of Rock. He's like the MC of the whole thing. He's like the prime personality. So
Okay.
I mean, I'm joking, but I'm joking about the safety thing. But
I've met Ted on a couple of occasions, so I will make sure to stand right by that dude, man. We're gonna lock arms with him. That's it. What do we do? He's a sweet guy. It's trippy to see all these bands from the 1900s still doing it. Our generation just carries this great torch for hard rock, man. A singer can not look like he used to, and I'm talking about just other people, There's this characterization of like the pot-bellied 1990s rock guy going out there and wearing the hair and having the battle vest on, I think that our generation, we'll find out if the torch got passed down enough to where the younger bands, that are playing organic rock will be in the mix, man, because it's just the same bands over and over, so I'd like to see maybe some younger bands go out and that are really good. Other than Greta Van Fleet, I don't really know who's out there, Royal Blood, all these cool bands. But back to the boat, pardon my train of thought. But our generation, it's cool to see everyone still digging rock and roll enough to go on this boat and appreciate it. Yeah. To go to whatever show it is, Rockville, M3, it's mind blowing that we still, go to the clubs, man. I don't understand people paying $1,000 to go see a band. That I'll never grasp. I'm just not built that way,
Well, some of it I think is bucket list,
Sure.
And unfortunately we're losing some artists, as they age. I'm kicking myself that I never saw Prince live. I would cut off my arm to see Prince live, and so I'm just really missing that. Huh?
Yeah, I won't rub it in, but I saw Prince do this after party thing. I think it was at Roseland in the city. It was one of these things where I was at a place called the Scrap Bar, which was over by NYU. It used to be a great. Scrap Bar was like what the Rainbow was.
Okay.
Hollywood. Everybody went there. It was almost about 4. They closed the doors if you were cool, and you would get to still hang out in there. And then about 5 or 6 in the morning, we would go to a place called the Loft, which was after hours. But point is, it got to be about 1:30 in the morning or something, and the word had spread that Prince was jamming somewhere. And I don't know who I was with, but it was a girl. She got me in. We jetted over to where Roseland was, and Prince jammed for 3 hours or something like that. We were there till 6 in the morning. and it was,
Wow.
I think it was Rosemary. Or it might have been the Beacon Theater, and I was really high back then. You know what I'm saying? But I just saw him once, and it was mind blowing. It was mind blowing. So the bucket list thing, I get. You know, even people said in Europe we were on someone's bucket list. That cracked me. But
Yeah, but you wouldn't pay a grand to go see Kiss.
no, man, because I saw Kiss as a kid with all four members on the Kiss Live tour, Kiss Live 2 tour. And you know, I like to keep things prime in my head. I don't want to see something watered down. Um,
Yeah.
I was, dude, I was the Kiss Army guy. I had the patch. I had the comic books. I was a Kiss fan. I dressed up. I did the Ace Frehley makeup in front of my mom and her friends, and did shows with my friends. You know, but as the years went on with them, you know, you see things become more corporate. You know, they take off the makeup. I was even with them for that. It's like, all right, man. You know, uh, the Dynasty album. I hung in there even for that. You know what I mean?
That's
But
impressive.
then when they start switching up members, and it, Ace was my guy when I was a kid. For some reason, it's related to Ace Frehley. You know, and then through the years, I met Paul Stanley. He was actually going to maybe produce a Spread album, but that didn't work out. But you know, then you just start to, you know, Family Jewels comes on. You get to go behind the curtain too much. You know, so that was shot for me. So I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna pay $1,000 to see anybody. I don't give a fuck who it is. You know what I mean? But if you can afford to do it, and you can, God bless you, man. I just can't do it.
Yeah. Well,
You know, and now they're touring. They're touring with someone who's dressed up like Ace and someone who's dressed up like Peter. So it's theater. You know, it is theater now, just like tribute bands. It's theater. You know.
well, yeah. I always thought, bands break up, they change members, they don't, it doesn't work out. Kiss was always the bigger than life. They were the rock band from outer space.
That's what I.
It was all bigger than life. The show was almost as important as the music, and I love Kiss's music. I'm not putting any of it down. Uh, but use different personalities. You don't have to reuse the same makeup personality, the same character.
Yeah.
That was Ace Frehley. That was Peter Criss.
Right.
Retire them. It's a football jersey. Retire it when, retire the number when that member's not in the band. You want to see Catman again? Bring back Peter Criss. You want to see, Space Ace again? Bring back Frehley.
Right.
But somebody else can do it. Somebody else can come up with a whole other persona.
Right. That's, you're dealing with band politics and how they behave, how they interact and stuff like that. Then it gets into money.
Yeah.
There's a whole echelon of things where I have no concept of that. But it's, if you're dealing with a lot of money, two guys are getting paid more. You've been in the band just as long. Maybe they wrote the bass, maybe they wrote most of everything, but still, it's got to get a little weird. The whole thing. This brings me to something else too. Band splits. When you write a song with four guys in the room, it's just supposed to be just split it. What I've learned over the years, just fucking split it. If everybody's working with the same energy towards something, just split it. Makes everything nice. Makes everything easy. Band splits are a big problem, in band politics, and that's why bands. It's always usually about money. Either I don't like, either you're a total asshole to me, which I could tolerate. But if there's money involved, if I'm not getting my cut and you're still an asshole to me, I don't know how much I can tolerate. I'm not. You got to give it to those guys though. They're a corporate machine. They've made the level of money that they have. Gene Simmons tells people straight up, he's about the money. And you got to respect that.
Yeah,
but
he's not lying. He's honest about who he is, what he's after.
Yeah,
you
so
got to respect that.
I was like, fuck yeah, go make your money, But I'm just not. I've already saw when I was a kid. I'm just not going to be driven to go see them later. I had so many friends go to the Garden to see the last shows. If it's the last shows, you know what I mean. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
But I had no desire to go. You know, if you told me Rage Against the Machine was never going to play it, you know, and there was the last gig, I might break my piggy bank for that. You know.
Well, you heard Rage said they're not putting together any new music. It's done.
I wonder what's going on there, man, because that band's so important right now. You know, I don't get it, but I don't know them, you know, so maybe they got their what they're dealing with is something we will never understand, you know. A lot of great bands just stop because the band politics happened and they just couldn't either get along or whatever the reason, you know. It's trippy. It's just people at the end, you know, people with personalities and frailties and problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not everybody is the Chili Peppers. You know, that's a band that stands the test of time. The members are like a family. You know, yeah, they've had some guitar players come and go, but everybody's been in that. That's what you're talking about. With, you know, why not get a different member with great personality? You know, that band's special. So many good. That's a special band.
Winger, U2, same deal. You know, all the same players.
Special above to me.
Yeah.
We talked to you. I think we might have talked about this before. These guys meet. None of them are what they consider great players. They're all not, you know, virtuosos when they meet. You know, they're kids just learning their instruments. And
yeah, U2, when they met, they couldn't play their instruments. They couldn't play covers because they weren't good enough. So they had to write originals.
Crazy.
You know, and now one of the biggest rock bands in the world.
Because what they created, by not having that, they created something so natural and huge that was never done before. That sound, you know, I was in this band when I was a kid, and the guitar player said to me, you got to listen to U2. They're going to be the biggest band in the world. And I think it's the one I Will Follow came out. I was covering that as a kid. And I said, it felt new wavy, but it wasn't like just new wavy. It felt like it was creating something of its own. You know what I mean? And then the War album comes out, and next thing you know, you're, you know, Joshua Tree, and you are going to these stadiums, and you're having a church-like experience. Nobody sits down. Everybody sings at a U2 show. You know, that band's just special. So they have the same sort of like belief system. You know, their families all travel together. You know what I mean? That's special. That's special. That's a really special band. Bono is like a preacher preaching rock and roll in the coolest way. You know, very, very conscious about humanity and how he treats people and how people treat others. You know, it's really special.
Yeah, it is.
Cool, man. That to me is cool. That if I could scrape together $1,000, I would go see U2. Feel me?
Yep.
Love so much great. You know, the Sabbaths, the AC/DCs, all that stuff, man. The Eagles are another special band. Eagles are really a special band.
Yeah, but they were the ones who started the overpriced ticket during that, you know, Hell Froze Over tour when they got back together. It was what, $2,500 a ticket just to see them?
Can you imagine that? I mean, you know, that's why I'm telling people, come see the band in the club. You know, it's easier on your pocket. You know, the drinks are cheaper for you if you're a drinker. Just go back out to the venues. Get back out to the venues. You know, your kids are gone. You got some money saved. Go back into the club. Go out and have a good night. You know, go have date night with Spread Eagle.
Yeah, and they can get within 100 feet of you.
That's right, man. You know, it's too funny. It's too funny. I'm glad we're talking about this. I'm sorry if I'm ADDing all over the place, but
no, it's cool. I'm following with you. We're good.
But yeah, give me another band. Aerosmith is touring, right? They still touring? Or did they stop?
They were going to do a farewell tour. I haven't heard if they've recovered, but they had to cancel because Steven Tyler had some vocal issues, had some throat polyps, I think, or pre-polyp stuff going on.
That's a special singer too, man. There's no one like that dude. You know, even though people are saying that with the next Stones and all that kind of stuff, Tyler's voice is insane. His dynamic. I was listening to Nobody's Fault yesterday. You know that song, the Rocks album?
Yep.
Oh my God. That's got to be one of the most heaviest, songs ever recorded. And heavy can be so many things, man. U2's Bullet the Blue Sky is one of the heaviest things ever written.
Oh yeah.
For Whom the Bell Tolls, but U2 is just as heavy as that. It's just different, So that album, Rocks, has Back in the Saddle on it. Nobody's Fault. So I'm telling you, when we're done, put on Nobody's Fault. He was like, Ray was right. That song's really fucking huge.
I am gonna write that down.
Yeah, and his vocal delivery, Steven Tyler's vocal delivery.
I've had the Pandora's Box for like 20, 30 years now. I mean, when it first came out, I got Pandora's Box, the whole box set of everything Aerosmith. Love Aerosmith.
There's a few cuts on that Aerosmith Rocks album. I just prefer it over the Toys in the Attic. That's just my taste. To Toys in the Attic. That song, Nobody's Fault, the vocal that he's recorded on there, I don't know how many times he tracked it. I don't know how many vocals they edited and bounced down. But that's one of the greatest, most vicious vocals ever recorded. Ever. Doesn't matter doesn't matter who's singing now, how heavy they think they are. That vocal is really special. It's a lesson in emotional intensity.
I'm going to have to refresh my memory. I remember the song, but I want to hear it again with fresh ears and consider what you said.
Yeah, text me after you hear it, and just the whole the rhythm that they're laying down. They must have just vibed out in the studio and just were jamming on that for a while. I would like to know the history of the recording of that song because it's so special. And it's one of those things, man. It's a standout song that's always been there all my life. Like Black Sabbath's Black Sabbath. There's some standout songs, Like when you first hear Black Sabbath, what is this? You're like, oh my God.
I remember hearing that. I don't know. I must have been maybe 10 or 11 when I first heard that. And, I was familiar with Kiss and AC/DC. I was familiar with, the 70s rock, Zeppelin, of course. But then Sabbath. I had never heard Sabbath on the radio. Somebody was just playing it. It was this backyard or beach party. I forget. It was some cookout type of thing. And I'm just hearing wah, 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 wah. And I'm like, whoa. What the hell is that, man? I'm like, your battery's dying in your boombox.
Yeah, that was it was otherworldly. Like when you first see Kiss on the Midnight Special, it's that feeling. You're like, oh my God, man. So Black Sabbath did too. There's some great moments like NIB. My first Sabbath album, I didn't buy a studio album. I bought the We Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll, which is like their greatest hits.
Yeah,
like first greatest hits, and that's what I had. So that's a really, I think of any greatest hits, for the early part of the career. That's a great piece out. It's a great collection of songs, all the best stuff. But Black Sabbath, holy shit, life changing.
Yeah, I think you and I are about the same age. So I think when we were kids, a lot of the best bands had been out there long enough. They had greatest hits. Yeah. I think the first greatest hits I ever bought was Bad Company's 10 from 6.
Oh, wow.
No, that's Chicago was 10 from 6. Bad Company, what was that?
Oh, now we're getting into it. You just said Chicago.
I got to find out now.
Let me ask you, is Bad Company in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
It is. I was right. 10 from 6 is the Bad Company.
Somebody said they were in the Hall of Fame, which doesn't make sense to me. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame doesn't really exist anymore. It's all bullshit. It's the Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I mean, so we were talking about Gene Simmons, and Gene Simmons says a lot of things that he shouldn't say in public, and especially when somebody puts a microphone in front of him. But he said something, they were inducting, I think it was 2 Live Crew or NWA or something, and he was like, you're not rock and roll. You're great musicians, but you're not rock and roll. You're rap. You shouldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right. It's lost its meaning. You know what I mean? Like, all power to hip hop. I am a fan of hip hop. It's just not rock. So it's creative. It's artistic. It's a lot of poetry. Cool. a lot of great producers in there. But it should be in a separate thing, just the way country music has its own thing. But nowadays, as you know, what's happened because of the MTVing of everybody, everything's
Yeah.
getting mishmashed together. So it's all just one thing. It's all one corporate machine. It's just one thing. So every time the Grammys are on, you're going to get the post of people that got nothing else to do. Well, why are they doing? Stop it. You can't fight it anymore. It is what it is, man. Country music has now become like almost they mix it with hip hop and rock. Hip hop is mixing with some country. Everything's just and over there to the far left, you got your organic rock and roll that's still going onward.
Well, and I think that's why it's doing so well. Just a quick thing. So, Bad Company and Paul Rogers are not currently inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Makes no sense to me. Can you imagine? Paul Rogers isn't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Of all the singers out there, Paul Rogers isn't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's weird. We live in the bizarro times, man.
I hung out on Paul Rogers' tour bus about 20 years ago. I don't know if I ever mentioned that to you.
Oh.
It was fun. I got to strum one of his guitars very reverentially. I was real, ooh,
Is he as cool to hang out as I think he is?
He was all right. So we hung out on his tour bus while he was doing a show, and then he came back afterward and hung out, and he was tired. He had done a show with his band. But he was cool. We didn't, it was only a few hours.
It's hard to, we had our tour bus days back in the day, and unless you are Metallica, you don't get a bus anymore. So those days were done. I feel like we lived in this really cool era that was really super decadent. You know what I mean? But when you're on a bus and you're touring, when you're meeting people, even and they're journalists or whatever, and you're tired and you're in transition all the time, for traveling, the meetings can be a little awkward and weird sometimes, because you really can't sit and really get to know someone, unless you go to the next day and hang out. You know what I mean? So I can't even imagine that kind of meeting. Buses are just weird places to meet people, and chat. At the front of the bus, it always seems so sterile and cold.
I think you'll find a good experience on the cruise from everything other musicians have told me, and I have a lot of friends who've played the cruise a few times. You get time to hang out. You get time to just be with people. Obviously there's places you can go that the fans aren't going to be there, but as much interaction with the fans as you want, you can have, before, after a show, during the day, while you're getting a meal, whatever, at the pool, whatever.
Well, I think we've gotten to our, Spread has worked really hard the past year and a half, more than we have. We piled on a lot of gigs. We went to Europe. We grinded that out, and we did grassroots touring of the UK and Germany, Belgium. It sounds funny when I say it. It was just in Belgium. It sounds funny. I'm excited about the boat because it just puts us on a different platform now. Now we really got to show up and show out. It's like we've worked hard. Well, why Spread Eagle here? So we got to bring the goods too, even though it's a fun time. We got to think about the gigs, because I've never done it before. So I wish it was like, we just played last year, 2 years ago, and so we're back and it's old hat, but it's not. I'm very excited about it. It raises our game, and I get to meet people, whether they know the band or not. I think we've been away enough where there's going to be a lot of people that I do meet or see the band that have never seen us before. This past year we were touring. The cool part was meeting all the people that had never seen us before, but were now turned on to the band. That's one of the coolest feelings in the world. So I'm excited, brother. Whether it's by the pool, by the buffet table, on the Lido deck, whatever, wherever Merle Stubing is, we'll be around, and Ted Poley too.
Yeah. Well, and Satriani. I mean, everybody's going to protect Satriani, like.
And the lineup, I did read something. People were talking about how There's not all original band members and stuff. That doesn't matter. This is the place to be. It's all about the music. You know, who you want to meet, your favorite artist, whatever. I want to meet Glenn Hughes. I'm a huge. I'm gonna fanboy that guy. I think it's just cool that we're doing this. I think that at this point in our lives, while rock and roll still exists the way it does in our generation, it's important to go out and just be part of it, not to just sit on our ass at home and not be a part of it. You know, I think it's cool. Very, very, very happy that it's all happening. I'm excited. It's keeping me alive, brother. Keep me going.
I'm excited for you. I am. So I pulled up the lineup. I'm looking at, you got Fraley there too, you know.
Yeah. Ace Frehley's going to be Ace. The Darkness. St. John's band's John Bush's band's going to be there. I like them a lot.
Pat Travers.
Dude, Pat Travers. That's incredible to me.
Yeah, Pat Travers. Richie Kotzen. I'm a fan of Richie Kotzen ever since his time with Poison, but especially, you know, the solo stuff, the Winery Dogs work, you know. Right. So I'm bummed that I won't be able to go this year either, but I hope you guys have a great time. And I would love to meet Glenn Hughes. I met Glenn Hughes. I would like to see him play again. I got to see him live for the first time, I think it was like 3 years ago, when he was still with the Dead Daisies. And my jaw just hit the floor. The guy's in his 70s, and he just had this range, and he hit all these high notes. And I'm just, I'm sitting there with a friend of mine who's, I don't know if you know him, Brandon Cook from Black and Blue.
I don't know him. I know the band.
Okay. So anyway, I'm sitting there with him, and we just kind of look at each other like,
I've seen a lot of videos, you know, but I want to be in the room and hear his sound, you know, because I'm a huge fan. Just I liked his work with Hughes Thrall. I liked that TV part that they had, you know. They had a song called "Look in Your Eye" or something like that. That Muscle and Blood album. I love that.
That was a good record.
It was cool. It was very MTV. They had the big, you know, the jackets, the very Miami Vice, lots of shoulder jackets, you know, in that video. But it's got to be cool to see him live, and to still be able to. The guy's a machine, man. You know, his chords are lubed up. It just sounds great, and I want to be able to get close enough to ask questions and pick his brain. You know, probably doesn't know who the fuck I am, but I'll make myself known to him. You know, with me, I think there's a lot of people that haven't seen us in a long time, and I don't think a lot of people really know what we can do as a band. So I think we'll be a bit of a curiosity, you know, like who is that? Let's go check it out. Yeah. And,
so on that note, any new music in the work for Spread Eagle?
Yes. Yeah. So you think there's a lot. We had songs in the can. I won't say the whole album. We had 5 or 6 songs in the can before we started packing in all the shows. I think we were going to go back and write and record, but the UK tour happened.
Okay. So
now we've got these next 2 months run of shows. So somewhere in the spring, we'll probably start knocking out tunes, because I don't think we have what I think is. I don't think we have enough of what I think is for an album, but I think we're close. You know, so it's just a matter of like chalking out some time and making it happen. But again, Spread's going to be, I think, a little more aggressive, and deliver something that's really, really cool, and it's still us, but it'll be different. You know, I think with each progression, we can explore a little more, you know, as far as our heaviness, because we came out kind of swinging back in the day. We tried to be a little more mature in our writing for open to the public, and then we disbanded. You know, so all those years later, we weren't going to try to do the first album again. You know, we just wrote what we had in at that point in our lives. You know, and now we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot from going on the road. My voice has has picked up on some things that we can use in the studio. I think my dynamics are a little better now than we did the Subway to the Stars album. So I'll probably reach a little more, maybe a little more gas in the tank, be a little more on it. I think we write cool songs, man. I think the songwriting that we do is special in Spread, in that style. And that style is always evolving as well. So lucky for Rob. I'm lucky that Rob is the kind of cat he is, where he listens to a lot of different kinds of music, a lot of different genres, and so do I. And Ricky, and Johnny. Johnny is going to be involved because Johnny's something else, man. I had a Paul DiBartolo in my life years ago. I never thought that would happen again. Find somebody that had that kind of flash in their fingers, man. Tommy's just a reserved, cool cat. So he's got good writing chops. So we're gonna write, man. We're gonna write with him too.
Cool. Have you toured? Oh, sorry.
No, SupaFly's still gonna be doing stuff because, me and Miguel don't live that far apart, so we get our chances to write and with our material too. So now I'm gonna be busy all the time, which is cool. I'd have it no other way. Boredom is what killed me. You were gonna say something. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So have you thought of maybe having SupaFly open for Spread, or is that just too long of a singing session for you?
I don't think that's even close to reality. That's been two different kinds of bands. I don't think I'd even want that to happen. I would rather keep those separate, If it was if I could make some money off it by doing it, of course I would. I think SupaFly stuff is a little easier to. What am I saying? At my age, everything is work.
I was just thinking about.
I'd be tired.
I was thinking about the Wilson sisters and Johnette Napolitano. How they always opened their main band with another project that they participated in. So I was just curious if you're going to follow in that lead.
If I can make it a reality, I probably would try. I don't see a way to do that, but if it ever does pop up, I'll be like, that'd be cool. Because Robbie also has his other band too, Of Earth, that he still writes and does stuff with. So everybody's got their something in this band. But SupaFly is a passion project. It's something that I had to get done and get out there. And like I feel about Spread, SupaFly hasn't written what it's supposed to write yet, because I think Miguel's style of writing is it's great. It's really enjoyable and something I like doing. And I have a hard time like really digging in sometimes and being creative. Like I don't make time every day. I'm not that guy. I just take it when it comes. So I'm excited about writing the next SupaFly album as much as I'm excited about writing the next Spread Eagle album, because they're both a part of it, But Spread is my bread and butter, and I think the next album is going to be better than Subway to the Stars.
I really do like that album. Subway to the Stars was just, I don't remember if Rob sent it to me or the label sent it to me. Somebody sent it to me, and I was like, oh wow, Spread Eagle's back. And I put it in and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. What can I put on the air? Nothing. It's embargoed for 3 months. Damn it. I was like, hey, people got to hear this. It's such a good album. 29th of February. Then the title track. Yeah, and then what is it? Oh, is it Built for Speed? The video you guys, huh?
Sound of Speed.
Sound of Speed. Yeah, the one you guys did at the go-kart track and everything, the video. Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of those. I can listen to that whole album straight through. I don't skip a track. I just dig it. But I'm also loving SupaFly.
Oh, cool, man. It's two different sides of me, you know what I mean? But the Subway to the Stars album, I'm so glad you feel that way, because I feel that way too. It's an album that I can actually sit and listen to. I have a hard time listening to myself, dude. I really do. I don't know many singers that can just sit and listen to themselves that aren't fucking egotistical maniacs, but I have a hard time listening to myself. And I found the Subway album really easy to listen to at a very cool, loud volume, because the mix on this record is so fucking awesome. We really worked hard on that. We like the album so much that we open up with Subway to the Stars and Sound of Speed in a row.
Really?
Yeah, so that's how much I love this album, and that's how much I stand behind it. Because my theory is, if you kind of got to educate people, a lot of guys, oh, we got to play this, we got to play that. Yes, you do, but you can, but the ear has to be trained. If I hear something cool, I'll know it's cool, and I'll be like, let me hear that again. Where can I find that? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I feel that way about the songs we use off the album to play live, whether it's Subway and Sound of Speed. Both of those songs have something that's really cool sonically, and they translate really well live. And they do something different that the other songs we have don't do. It creates just new cool vibe, in the beginning of the set. And so I said, let's open with stuff off this album. Let's just not open with something everybody knows. Let's give them the vibe that we're about, and people will catch on to that. So that's how I like to watch the set roll, because if you hit people with that kind of power and feeling, then they're caught in, but they've never heard it before.
Yeah.
Then you give them like Devil's Road or something, and Broken City. Then you lay it on them because they're already like in the vibe,
And the response has been good to that.
Yeah.
Right on.
I think it's all about attitude and delivery. If you're confident about something, if I'm confident about a subject and I'm talking to you about it, I'm really gonna talk to you about it and make you feel it. So we're really confident with those particular songs live, and so that's the intro. You're expecting something else. To me, it's like a bonus. And it makes us unpredictable, which I like.
Unpredictable's good.
Yeah, brother.
Speaking of, so Spread Eagle is spreadeagle.us is the website. Right. Facebook pages, all the social media. Obviously, people can hear your entire albums, including Subway to the Stars, on Spotify. You can pick it up on Amazon and everywhere you can buy albums. Where can people find out more about SupaFly and listen to SupaFly?
So
Other than the Hard, Heavy, and Hair show, where I just have this irrational need to play the 2 singles so far, and the third one that I know is on the way.
Well, if you go, Deco Entertainment is really cool about helping us get set up. SupaFly right now, we have our Instagram page. If you just type in SupaFly the Vibe, it'll pop up. On Facebook, SupaFly the Vibe, it'll pop right up.
And if I can interrupt for just a second, folks, just to put this out there, it's SUPA Fly. It's not ER, it's SupaFly.
Like
SupaFly.
Snooka. But I just thought it always sounds cool. The word itself sounds cool to me. It rolls off the tongue really easy, And in SupaFly was about being super cool, But this is about the vibe of it. What I mean is, it's about feeling a certain way, feeling SupaFly, if you will, So we're SupaFly. The album is going to be out March 8th. We've already put out "I'm Your Boogeyman" as a single, social media, let that drip. And next is going to be, we did Hypothermia. Hypothermia, we just put out, what you heard. And what I wanted to do was make a video for it. We didn't get to do that yet. So we're going to make a video for Hypothermia.
Okay.
We're going to make a video for the next single, which is called Drowning Man. That'll be out in maybe towards the end of February. The album's going to be released March 8th. And we're actually doing...
And Drowning Man's the one I heard, the one that had that previous title you were talking... Okay.
March 8th, I think the album's coming out. And we're actually going to do a record release party, which is kind of cool, in Fort Lauderdale. The Spread Eagle actually plays. We do the boat. We come off the boat. We play in Fort Lauderdale. And the following night, my SupaFly release party will be there at the same place, which is cool.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and so it's easy to find. Just type in SupaFly, the Vibe, pops up on Facebook, Instagram. We're working on the website now. So I think it might be SupaFly. I think it's SupaFlyMusic.com. I'm not sure. But I know I'll have to let you know. We'll let everybody know. But it's something I'm working on. We're building this up now from the bottom.
Right on. All right. Well, I know you got a call waiting. Ray West, thank you so much for hanging out again. Really cool catching up with you. And again, I'm really digging the new music, man. And I'm really liking how your voice is coming out, and the evolution of your voice. I think you're just singing your best ever, man.
The voice is all I got. It's my You know, it's my call to glory, man. Without your voice, you're nothing, right?
Right.
Appreciate you, man. You're just great. You're a great friend to me and what I do, and I want to thank everybody that watches this. It's amazing to wake up in the morning and do this and have the connection with people, through this music. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. I want everybody to really give this a listen and take it to heart. See, if you take it, great. If you don't, I'll understand. But I think you'll like it. You there? Bye, Ma.
Remember, to hear the music discussed in this interview, stream the on-demand Hard, Heavy, and Hair show at pariahrocks.com.
That's PARIAHROCKS.com.
Also hit pariahrocks.com to stream or listen on a radio station near you. The regular 2-hour Hard, Heavy, and Hair show with me, Pariah Burke. Hard, Heavy, and Hair is your weekly dose of hard rock, heavy metal, and hair bands from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 20-teens, and today, including the latest new releases, your old favorites, and deep cuts and rare hair, along with rock news and trivia.